Start minute.
Yes. Good morning to you all. And in the we have seen present simple tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense, present perfect continuous tense. So if we just recapitulate of what we learned in the last class, coming to present simple tense. So present simple tense will be used to express the habitual actions, universal truths, scientific facts, and even for the regular activities and all that we have seen in the last class. And coming to present continuous tense, when do we use present continuous tense? Present continuous tense is used to express an action that is going on at the time of speaking. For example, we are having English webinar right now. So coming to present perfect tense. So present perfect tense is used for the just completed action that we have seen. So for the just completed action, so we have just completed our mathematics webinar class. So in that way. And coming to present perfect continuous tense. So present perfect continuous tense, it's used to refer to an action that began at one point of time in the near past and that's going on even at the time of speaking, and that will also go on to certain point of time. So that is indefinite. So for this session, we are coming to past tense. So module 3, unit 12. So we are dealing with tenses, and for this session, we are going to begin with past tense. And what is past tense? We completed present tense in the last class, and so we dealt with, see, we completed, so we learned even about the verb forms like v1. So v1 is the base form of the verb, and v2 is the past form of the verb. So v3 is the past participle form of the verb, and v4 is the present participle. And past tense means, so we are talking about the completed action. So for example, if we have to talk about the completed actions, we started our TRICE webinar classes in the month of November. That is a past completed action. And so we completed tenses on present tense. So in the last week, so that is a completed action. So when we talk about the completed actions, so we use past tense. So is that clear? So what is past simple tense and when do we use this past simple tense? So that is our doubt. So let's learn. For example, past simple tense, it is used for past situations and events that took place in the past. For example, we all attended the function of our sister-in-law in November 2020. So we are talking about the completed action, and when did that action complete? In the past. So when we talk about the action that completed in the past, because November 2020, that was already over. So when we talk about the action that got completed in the past tense, we use past simple tense. So for past situations and events, so that took place in the past, we use past simple tense. So for example, we all attended. Once again, when we just go to the example, we all attended. So concentrate on the verb, which verb we are using to express this sentence is in past simple tense. So we all attended. Attended refers to the V2, the past form of the verb. So we all attended the function of our sister-in-law in November 2020. And coming to the habitual and regular actions in the past, even when we talk about the past habitual or the regular actions also, we use past simple tense. How? We visited so many places when we were in India. So along back we were in India. At that time what happened? So one action used to happen so frequently in the past. So what was that? We visited so many places when we were in India. That means we are not in India right now. So we are talking about the past action. Then coming to the next slide, how to use past simple tense. So when we say past simple tense, when we talk about the past simple tense, so for example, in the last class we have seen, so how to make use of the present simple, present continuous tense, present perfect tense, and present perfect continuous tense. In the same way, when we learn about how to use past simple tense and how to frame a negative sentence, how to write an affirmative sentence, and how to frame a negative sentence, and how to frame an interrogative sentence, and how to frame an negative interrogative sentence. So when we see that, so first person, what is the first person? Then again, in the last class, we saw subject is of three types: first person, second person, third person. Coming to the first person, I worked. So here, when you check the verb, so here worked, that is the past form of the verb, subject I. So here we don't have the confusion like present simple tense, adding s or es that we saw in the last class coming to present simple. But here we use V2 form of the verb to refer to the statement that it's a completed action. So I worked. So then coming to subject plural, first person plural, we. I worked, we worked. Coming to the second person, both singular and plural, it can be treated. So you worked. And coming to the third person affirmative sentence, he worked, she worked, it worked. And coming to the plural form of the third person, they. So they worked. So that's fine. And coming to the negative sentence. So what is the negative sentence when we add not? So when we frame any sentence, so with not, that becomes a negative sentence. So I did not work. So after did, see this point we have to examine carefully. Many a times we come across people saying, I did not worked. W-O-R-K-E-D they say, but that's wrong. So when we use did refers to past tense. So then again, why should we add ed? That means again, why should we use the V2 form of the verb here when we already mentioned that this sentence belongs to past simple by adding did? So that's not necessary. That's not required. And when we say I did not worked, because that will come mostly in correction of sentences. So if we say did not worked, many times even people also say I did not bought, I did not came yesterday. No, I did not come, I did not go, I did not eat, I did not listen. So when you use did, remember that it should be followed by V1. So I did not work, we did not work. And coming to second person, you did not work. And third person, he did not work, she did not work, it did not, and plural, they did not work. And coming to the interrogative sentence, and when we frame a question, how do we frame a question in past simple? Did I work? Then again say, did I work? Then again, the V1 form of the verb. So here already we refer to it by mentioning did, we refer to the sentence that it belongs to past simple. Did I work? Did we work? Then again coming to second person, did you work? And third person singular, did he work? Did she work? Did it work? And coming to the plural, did they work? And coming to the negative interrogative form, coming to the negative interrogative, like, so did I not work? Or we can also say, didn't I work? And did we not work? Or didn't we work? Or didn't you work? Or so didn't he work? Didn't she work? Didn't it work? Didn't they work? So in that way, we frame the negative interrogative. And coming to the adverb, see, for any sentence, we just look forward so to having some or the other clause. So how to identify in the final examination when it is given that it belongs to past simple tense? So adverbs that we commonly find in the past simple tense are yesterday, the previous day, last night, last week, last month, last year, like ago, like a month ago, a week ago. And we also begin some sentences like once upon a time. We are well familiar of the story. Once upon a time there was a king. He had 7 sons. One day they all went for hunting. They caught hold of 7 fish. So in that way the story goes on. So when we refer to the past stories and all, we refer to past simple tense. So a minute ago, a week ago, or a year ago, you can use in that way. And with phrases like once upon a time, as I said. So when we refer to the stories and all with the expression or with the phrase like once upon a time, a long back. So that refers to past simple tense. So let's refer to some examples of past simple tense. So how they will be. For example, when we look at the picture, they felicitated the MLA on 1st January. So 1st January already, that's the completed action. So when we talk about the completed action, we should use past simple tense. So they felicitated. Then again coming to the verb forms, felicitate, felicitated, felicitated. And coming to V4, what is V4? Present participle, felicitating. But coming to past simple tense, we have already seen that in past simple tense, so we should use the subject and V2 form of the verb, that is called the past form of the verb, then object will come. So they felicitated the MLA on 1st January. Then again, coming to the second one, the children celebrated their parents' anniversary last month. See, when you look at the expression last month, last week, as we have seen in the previous slide. So last month, last week, last year. So the children celebrated their parents' anniversary. Celebrated, celebrated. So V2 form celebrated. The children celebrated their parents' anniversary last month. And coming to the third picture, he got married in 2008. Then again, got. So he got married in 2008. In 2008. So this sentence will remind us of one more familiar sentence like India won independence in 1947. So when you find a sentence ending with a year, so that means a past completed action, then we use past simple tense. Then we all went for a tour for Christmas vacation last week. Then again, look at last week, the expression, the adverb last week. So then again, when you refer to last week, then again, we all went, go, went, gone. So the V2 form of the verb is went. So we all went for a tour for Christmas vacation last week. So that also refers to past simple tense. So now let's remember all these and let's try to fill in the blanks using the correct form of the verbs given in brackets. So coming to the first sentence, I visit or visited Agra last December, last December. So that means, so which answer comes? I visit Agra last December or I visited Agra last December? I visited Agra last December. And coming to they and coming to was or were. So that we have to check once again. If the subject is singular, we should add was. And I always follows a special rule. Like I was, we say I was. So coming to we is the subject plural. We were. Coming to you, so you were. Then again he, she, it. They are followed by was and they will be followed by were. So they were here or they was here yesterday. They were here yesterday. And coming to the third sentence, I saw the man crossing the road an hour ago, or I was seeing the man crossing the road an hour ago. So here it's a completed action because we are using an hour ago. So when we say an hour ago, when we refer to the completed action, then we should use I saw the man crossing the road an hour ago. So already that was a completed action. So we can't use it in continuous form. Then again, she did not sell. She did not sell all the flowers or she did not sold all the flowers. So as it has been referred to earlier that these kinds of sentences might come. So most often in the public examinations for correction of sentences, like she did not sold. That's wrong because did means already you refer to the past tense. Then again, why should we use another V2 form of the verb? So we say she did not sell. When we use past tense here, it should be followed by V1. She did not sell all the flowers. That we must remember. Then a group of people, subject plural, was found in front of their home or were found in front of their home. So a group of people were found in front of their home. That also we have to so refer to and we should understand. And coming to the sixth sentence, we write a letter to our father last week or we wrote a letter to our father last week. So last week again it refers to past simple tense. So we wrote a letter to our father last week. So that also you remember. And this is the homework to be done by you. So coming to past continuous tense. And what is past continuous tense? Coming to present continuous tense, we have seen. So in the previous class. So present continuous tense means an action that is going on at the time of speaking. So the class is going on. And coming to the past continuous tense, that means at one point of time in the past, so and so action was going on. So when we refer to one action that was going on at one point of time in the past, then we use past continuous tense. And when do we use this past continuous tense? This past continuous tense, we'll see. So for example, so for an action over a period of past time or an action that was in progress at some time in the past, that means at so and so point of time in the past, so and so action it was in progress, that means it was going on when at some point of time in the past. For example, how to express a sentence that it belongs to past continuous tense, that we will see. We were attending paper valuation duty at that time. So what were we doing at that time? At that time. So when we refer to that refers to what some point of time in the past. So at that time, so we were attending paper valuation duty at that time. So we were on works. Which work? We were attending paper valuation. So that action was going on at that point of time in the past. And coming to the second picture, children were doing homework yesterday at this time. Yesterday at this time, something was happening. And what was happening? Children, they were doing their homework. Children were doing homework. So what were they doing? They were doing homework. When? Yesterday at this time. So that means when you refer to past by using yesterday, so when you refer to, so the point of time, like at this time, yesterday, so you mean to say that some action was going on at the point of time that you mentioned related to the past tense, that we should understand. And coming to, then again, so subject, then again structure, and how to frame a negative sentence, and how to frame an interrogative sentence and negative interrogative sentence, we'll see. Then again, coming to first person, we say I was working. Then again, we know pretty well that, so with subject singular we use was, and with subject plural we use were. So I was working and we were working. Second person, you were working. And third person singular, he was working, she was working, it was working. And coming to the plural also, we say they were working. So coming to negative sentence, like so I was not working, we were not working, you were not working. And coming to, so third person, he was not working, she was not working, it was not working. And coming to the interrogative sentence, then again, was I working? So here only the be forms are changing between present continuous to past continuous tense, and the times that we have to remember. Coming to the interrogative, was I working? Were we working? Were you working? Then again, third person singular, was he working? Was she working? Was it working? And coming to the negative sentences, negative interrogative, was I not working? Were we not working? Then coming to second person, were you not working? And third person singular, was he not working? Was she not working? Was it not working? And even so plural will also be there. Here it has been cut. So here, so were they not working? So that is the plural form. And coming to the adverbs. So when we talk about the past continuous tense, when two actions take place in the past at the same time, so then we can express that action so that was going on at one point of time in the past in continuous tense. So for example, the longer action should be expressed in the past continuous tense. The longer action means the action that was going on at one point of time in the past, so that would be expressed using past continuous tense. And the shorter action must be expressed in the simple past. So examples of past continuous tense we will see. And so here, so the woman was waiting for her friend at 8 a.m. yesterday. So say 8 a.m. yesterday, that means we refer to one point of time in the past. So 8 a.m. yesterday. So what was she doing? The woman was waiting for her friend at 8 a.m. yesterday. So 8 a.m. yesterday, it refers to one particular point of time related to past tense. That means at one particular point of time in the past time, what was happening? The woman was waiting for her friend. So that means at one point of time in the past, the woman was waiting for her friend. That action was going on. And coming to the second picture, the two girls were waiting for the food at the restaurant last night at this time. So here you can also make notice of some of the adverbs that are relevant to the past tense to let you know that that sentence belongs to past simple tense. So here, last night at this time. So when you see last night, you can understand pretty well that this last night refers to the action that's relevant to past tense. So last night at this time. So last night at this time means something was happening last night at this time. So when something was happening in the past, then when that was in continuous form, then we should use past continuous. So the two girls were waiting for the food at the restaurant last night at this time. For example, we can also take one live example for your understanding. The students were eagerly waiting for the next day's session, that is Monday's session or Monday's webinar, so eagerly. So the students were eagerly waiting for the Monday's webinar yesterday. At this time, yesterday at this time, you were all eagerly waiting for Monday's webinar. So you can take so many live examples in that way. And coming to here, the children were eating when I took the photo. See, when I took the photo, here subject I, take, took, taken. So here took, we took, that is past form of the verb. When I took the photo, that means this action was a completed action. Then the first part of the sentence, that is the children were eating, that was in progress. So the children were eating. So the action that was in progress would be expressed in past continuous tense, and the action which was completed should be expressed in past simple. So the children were eating when I took the photo. So coming to the fourth picture, when I took a photo of them, they were waving their hands happily. So when I took a photo of them, so I took a photo of them. Then they were doing something. What were they doing when I took a photo? They were waving their hands happily. So this action was going on at that point of time. So coming to the next slide. So fill in the blanks with the appropriate forms of the verbs given in brackets. So past continuous tense means, what did we understand by now? So we talk about an action that was going on at one point of time in the past. So for example, at 8 p.m. yesterday, see, we refer to one point of time. Then again, we also talked about the relevance to the past. So this adverb you find in the sentence. So at 8 p.m. yesterday, I was playing, or I were playing chess with my friend. I was playing. As I told you, I always follows special rules. We are all important to ourselves. So I is very important. So I was playing chess with my friend. So coming to the second sentence, at that time she. Then again coming to third person singular. He, she, it will be followed by which form of the be form in past tense? Was. So at that time she was listening to music. And coming to the third sentence, it rained or it was raining when I met him. It was raining when I met him. So here you find one action in progress and the other action was completed. So we refer to the completed action in past simple tense, and we refer to the action that was in progress at one point of time in the past in past continuous tense. So it was raining when I met him. Then the principal came when the students was shouting. The students means the subject, plural. So when the subject is plural, do we use was or were in past continuous tense? So were. So the principal came when the students were shouting in the class. When I went there, they, then again subject, they means, is it plural or singular? It is plural. So when I went there, they was quarreling or they were quarreling? They were quarreling among themselves. Good. This is the homework to be done by you, dears. And coming to the next one. What is past perfect tense? And when do we use this past perfect tense? So this we have to learn. So what is past perfect tense? Past perfect tense means, so we find, so a completed action. We find two actions, the first completed action and the later completed action. So generally in past perfect tense, when we talk about this action, so this is the action which got completed at first, and the later action would be expressed in past simple. So for example, past perfect tense is used to refer to two earlier actions or activities. What are the two earlier actions or activities? So when did they take place? That took place in the past, and to show the sequence of actions. So, and to show the sequence of actions. So for example, Kiran had bought all the groceries when I returned home from office. So here you find another sentence also relevant to the past tense. And between these two sentences, you find that one sentence, so it was completed at first, and later the next part of the sentence, or later the next so part of the sentence, or the next action of the, so action relevant to the next part of the sentence took place. So Kiran had bought all the groceries. So when I returned home from office, that means, so by the time I returned from office, Kiran had bought all the groceries. So the first completed action would be expressed using past perfect tense, and the next completed action would be expressed in past simple tense. And coming to the next condition, the words before or after are also used to indicate the sequence of events. For example, I had completed my exam before the bell rang. So that means here you find two completed actions. Then again, the first completed action, the later completed action. So the first complete, what is the first completed action? I had completed my exam. That means, so writing the exam had been completed by me. I wrote off the exam. So I had completed my exam. Then what happened? So the bell rang. That means, so first completed action, completion of exam. And the next completed action, the bell rang. So first completed action would be expressed using past perfect tense. So example, I had completed my exam before the bell rang. For example, if I just complete off the session before the allotted time, so tomorrow I can say, I had completed my yesterday's session before sir indicated that the time was over. So you can frame n number of examples. So you need to have two completed actions. So the first completed action and the later completed action. So two earlier actions. And again, we will also have the hints like before or after. And how to use past perfect tense. So let us learn. Then again, coming to the persons like first person, second person. So then again, third person. So coming to first person, like I had worked. See, so here we use past participle. Like in present perfect tense, what did we see? Has or have plus V3. But here we don't have any confusion. For all subjects, we have had, like has or have, had. Coming to the, so V3 form, like has or have is the V1 form, had, V2 had, V3 had. So here V3 also had. So in any perfect tense along with the be form we get, so the past participle form of the verb. So that we have to remember. So I had, after had, V3, the past participle. I had worked. And what is first person plural? We. We had worked. Then second person, you had worked. See, had plus V3. And coming to the third person, he had worked. Then again, she had worked. Then third person, so it had worked. And coming to third person plural, they had worked. And coming to the negative sentence, and again, what is a negative sentence? When we add not. After the be form had, we add not, then again past participle. Like I had not worked. Coming to the plural, we had not worked. Second person, you had not worked. Third person, he had not worked, she had not worked, it had not worked, and they had not worked. And coming to the interrogative sentence. And so what is an interrogative? Coming to the asking of the questions. So had, so we begin with had, then we place the subject, then again we add the past participle form of the verb. Had I worked? Had we worked? And coming to the second person, had you worked? And third person singular, had he worked? Had she worked? Had it worked? And third person plural, they. So had they worked? And coming to the negative, so negative interrogative. So had I not worked or hadn't I worked? Hadn't we worked? Coming to the contractions like hadn't you worked or hadn't he worked? Hadn't she worked? Hadn't it worked? Hadn't they worked? So that is how we frame the affirmative sentence, the negative sentence, the interrogative sentence, and the negative interrogative sentence. And when two actions are said to have happened one after the other, once again, so let us learn of when to use the past perfect tense and how to use the past perfect tense. When two actions are said to have happened one after the other, see, these two are the completed actions, and these two actions will happen one after the other. So the action that happened first is in the past perfect tense, and the action that happened later is in the past simple tense. So the first action or the first completed action would be expressed in past perfect tense, and the later completed action would be expressed in past simple tense. So this we have to remember. And what are the clues that they give before or after? That also we have to remember. And let us look at the first example. It had started raining before I opened my umbrella. So what happened? See, so it had started. That means, so rain started and I opened my umbrella. For example, let us split the sentence for our own understanding. So rain started, I opened my umbrella. But which action took place at first? It had started raining. So that means, so the action of rain, so that took place at first, and later the opening of the umbrella, that action took place. So it had started raining before I opened my umbrella. And coming to the next pick, the second pick, the train started. The train started. So that was the completed action. I had reached the station. Let us split the sentence for our understanding into two. The train started. I had reached the station. But which was the first completed action? The train started after I had reached the station. That means I reached the station first. Later the train started. And if the train started, so before I reached the station, I wouldn't be there. So the train started when after I had reached the station. That means I reached the station at first. Later the train started. So first completed action in past perfect, second completed. So again and again, when we are saying first completed, second completed, remember pretty well that first completed action should be expressed in past perfect, and this later completed action should be expressed in past simple. This we have to remember thoroughly, and so this we have to keep in our mind. And coming to the third picture, the students had submitted the art and craft work before the bell rang. So that means, so students had submitted the art and craft work, the bell rang. So two completed actions. So we are talking about the two completed actions. So, and which was the first completed action? The students had submitted the art and craft work. That means they submitted it, they submitted the art and craft work then and there. And later what happened? Which action took place? The bell rang. So two completed actions. So what was the first completed actions? Students submitting the art and craft work. And what is the later completed action? The bell rang. So we use the students had submitted, as it is the first completed action. The students had submitted the art and craft work when? Before the bell rang. So fill in the blanks with the appropriate forms of the verbs given below using past simple or past perfect tense. So then again, past simple, we talk about the completed actions. And coming to the past perfect tense, we talk about two completed actions. The first completed and the later completed. And we also will have the hints like before or after. So, or when, sometimes. So coming to the first sentence, the thief had escaped before the police arrived. See, before is there. The thief escaped or had escaped. The thief had escaped before the police arrived. So that means two completed actions. Thief escaped, police arrived. But the thief had escaped before the police arrived. First completed action, later completed action. Then second part of the sentence which ends with a year. I had met my cousin in 2019, or I met my cousin in 2019, like we won independence in 1947. So I met my cousin in 2019. Coming to the third sentence, she had written many short stories in her young age, or she wrote many short stories in her young age. Past habitual actions, like I wrote so many. So she wrote many short stories in her young age. And fourth one, the train left the platform before we went there, or had left the platform before we went there. Then again, before came, see. So what shall we use? The train had left the platform. So that was the first completed action. Later what happened? We went there. So the train had left the platform before we went there. Then coming to the, so impossible or the improbable situations or imaginary conditions which hardly take place, that have never that have never taken place in our lives. When we talk about the imaginary conditions, we use I wish I were a bird. This is also so one of the most important sentences that they cover in the final examinations. I wish I were a bird. So but many a times people say I wish I was. No, I wish I were a bird. I wish I was KCR to grant this or that boon to the people and all, or I wish I were the prime minister. So when we talk about something, so that may happen only in our imagination, then we can use I wish I were a, I wish I were so and so. So here coming to this sentence, I wish I were a bird. And coming to the homework to be done. So this has to be done by you. So later we'll just, I'll read off all the sentences for you in case if we are left with some time. So coming to what is past perfect continuous tense, and when do we use this past perfect continuous tense? So then again in the present, so whenever we remember or whenever we go to the so past perfect continuous tense, let's so for some time let's recollect so how we worked with present perfect continuous tense. So in present perfect continuous tense, we so learned that by saying that, say, present perfect continuous tense refer to an action that began at one point of time in the past and that's going on and that will also go on. So for over a period of time. So that is present perfect continuous tense, and we also come across since or for. And since refers to point of time, like since morning, since afternoon, since evening, since 10 o'clock. So that since refers to the point of time. And for, so for refers to the period of time, like for 7 days, for 3 hours, for 10 years. So for 14 days. So for refers to the period of time, that is that talks about the duration. So in present perfect continuous tense, like has or have plus been plus v4 we learned. So coming to here we don't get has or have. So the B form is had. So the same. So subject plus had. Then again been will come to say that it is in perfect continuous form. Then again V4, that is the present participle. And when do we use past perfect continuous tense? So past perfect continuous tense, it is used for what? To show two actions in the past. And one showing the duration of an action and another showing when it came to an end. That means we find so past simple and past perfect continuous tense. So when we have been given a hint that that is relevant to so past tense, that means the completed action. So along with since or for, we can easily recognize that it is in past perfect continuous tense. So for example, the murderer. So you can look at the picture and you can understand the murderer had been holding the knife for 5 minutes when the police entered the room. So when they give you this sentence in the final examination for past perfect continuous tense, they'll give you surely one relevance to the past tense. They will not give simply the murderer dash in bracket hold the knife for 5 minutes. They will not give such a sentence. Mostly, as far as our knowledge goes, mostly they'll give you a sentence with reference to a past completed action where you could easily recognize whether it is the past perfect continuous or present perfect continuous tense. If you are not given any hint, so that's relevant to the past completed action in past perfect continuous tense, we may go ambiguous. We may go a little confused whether to use present perfect continuous or past perfect continuous tense. So nothing to worry about. They'll give us the hint. So the murderer so had been holding the knife for 5 minutes when the police entered the room. So the police entered the room. So this is the completed action. So we expressed in past simple tense. And coming to the next part of the sentence or the first part of the sentence, the murderer had been holding the knife. That means still it was in his hands, the knife for 5 minutes. Even after the police came, he was holding the knife for 5 minutes. So we are using past perfect continuous tense because we have also been given the hint for along with past simple reference. So the murderer had been holding the knife for 5 minutes when the police entered the room. So here, so two actions in the past we find in this sentence. So one showing the duration of an action, that is for 5 minutes, and another showing when it came to an end. So when the police entered, means after the police entered the room, he dropped the knife. So that's what we mean to say. And coming to the second part of the sentence. So she had been teaching the students since 2002. So when I met her last time, then again before the years we use since. So she had been teaching students since 2002. So when I met her last time, see, when I met her last time, so it talks about the action that came to an end when I met her last time. That means I met her. That was the completed action. So when I met her, something had been happening at this point of time. So what had been happening? She had been teaching students since 2002 when I met her last time. So that we have to remember. Then again, how to use past perfect continuous tense, that we have to learn. And again, coming to the person, so like so first person, second person, third person, singular and plural. And coming to the affirmative statement like subject, then again in present perfect continuous tense we have has or have, but here had plus been plus v1 plus ing, or you can call it v for present participle. So then again subject. So coming to the negative sentence, subject, then again after had we add not to make it negative. Then the rest of the structure is the same, been plus verb plus ing form. Then coming to interrogative, we place the be form at first. That means before the subject. Whenever we place the be form or the verb before the subject, we make it interrogative. So be form had plus subject, then again been plus verb plus ing. Coming to the negative interrogative, so had plus subject, so then not plus been plus verb plus ing form. So coming to affirmative sentences like I had been writing, we had been writing. See, here also we don't have any confusion like present perfect and present perfect continuous tense to use whether has or have. Here we have only had. Coming to the second person, you had been writing. Third person, he had been writing, she had been writing, it had been writing. Third person plural is they. That has been cut off here. They had been writing. And coming to the negative form, then again, I had not been writing, she had not been writing. So, sorry, we had not been writing. Then again, coming to the second person, you had not been writing. Third person singular, he had not been writing, she had not been writing, then it had not been writing. So coming to the plural, they had not been writing. Then again, yeah, coming to so negative interrogative sentence. Had I been writing? Had we been writing? Then again, coming to second person, had you been writing? Third person singular, had he been writing? Had she been writing? Had it been writing? Then again, coming to plural, had they been writing? And negative interrogative. So had I not been writing? Or hadn't I been writing? Hadn't we been writing? Coming to second person, hadn't you been writing? Third person singular, hadn't he been writing? Hadn't she been writing? Hadn't it been writing? And third person plural, so hadn't they been writing? So that's about present, past perfect continuous tense. So coming to the examples of past perfect continuous tense. So they are as follows. So I had been driving, look at the first picture. So I had been driving my car since morning when it broke down. See, so the second action, it was the completed action. And the first action, that was the continuous action in past tense. So you find two actions. One was the completed action with reference to past simple tense, and one was the continuous action. So I had been driving my car since morning. So we also find since here. Coming to the second picture, children had been playing for 2 hours. Then again, for duration of time, children had been playing for 2 hours. And what is the completed action in the past? When the bell rang. So that was the completed. So children had been playing for 2 hours when the bell rang. So coming to the third picture, they had been writing exam for 1 hour when the squad came. So they had been writing the exam for 1 hour. Then again, for means period of time when the squad came. So that refers to past simple tense, the next part of the action. So fill in the blanks with the past continuous or past perfect continuous form. So examine the sentences carefully. We were playing tennis last Sunday at this time, or we had been playing tennis last Sunday at this time. So when we refer to past tense with at this time, at that time, so we learned pretty well that that belongs to past continuous tense. So we were playing tennis last Sunday at this time. And coming to the second sentence, I was singing a song for 5 minutes. See here, for is given. So read the sentence carefully. I was singing a song for 5 minutes, or I had been singing a song for 5 minutes. So I had been singing a song for 5 minutes when my friend came. So that action was going on when the other action took place. So what was the other action? My friend came. Coming to the third sentence, my friend was watching TV when I went to his home, or my friend had been watching TV. If it is had been watching, so time duration or so the particular point of time would be given. So my friend was watching TV when I went to his home. So I knew that Lavanya had been working or was working in that school for 5 years by then. So I knew that Lavanya had been working in that school for 5 years by then. Then, so the children were drawing when the bell rang, or the children had been drawing. The children were drawing when the bell rang. And this is the homework to be done by you. And coming to the last, the textual exercise, fill in the blanks with past simple, the past continuous, the past perfect, or the past perfect continuous forms of the verbs given in brackets. So the tsunami, so in bracket, the verb break while the sailors row the boats. So here you find two types of actions. One was the completed action, and the another action refers to the continuous action. So when you think carefully, the tsunami broke while the sailors were rowing the boats. So coming to the second sentence, how you spend your childhood. How did you spend? Then again, we have to be careful. So as we learned, so just a few minutes ago, after did, it should be followed by V1 or V2, V1. So how did you spend your childhood? Then again, so I, in bracket, the verb browse the internet when he came to our house. He came to our house, but I was doing something at that point of time. So I was browsing the internet when he came to our house. Then the audience occupied their seats before the cinema began, before is given. Then again, after before, what do you find? The completed action. So it's talking about two completed actions, the first completed action and the second completed action. So the audience had occupied. So we have to use past perfect tense. In past perfect tense only, we learned that it's talking about two actions. So first completed, later completed. First completed action should be in past perfect. So the audience had occupied their seats before the cinema began. Then the farmers dash seats for 2 hours when the sun set. So the farmers, so dash in bracket sow seeds for 2 hours when the sun set. Then again for 2 hours. So the farmers had been sowing seeds for 2 hours when the sun set. The sunset. So that refers to past simple action. So the farmers had been sowing the seeds. And the sixth one, there was a stampede when the pilgrims, then again there is a blank, suddenly again a blank in bracket, rush into the temple. So there was a stampede when the pilgrims were suddenly rushing into the temple. That means one action was going on. Suddenly some other action took place. What was that? There was a stampede, a sudden so flow of these horses and all. Suddenly so a group of horses or the cattle, so they entered. So coming to the seventh one, for example, for the imaginary conditions, when the things or when the situations or the events are literally impossible to occur in the real time situation, or when we think that it is beyond, then we can say, I wish I had a car. Then eighth one, so when were you born? So eighth one, when were you? So with you, we use the be form in past tense, were. When were you born? And coming to the ninth one, how long? So your brother stay in the US when you went there for MS. So how long? So how long had your brother stayed? That means we are talking about a definite action that's relevant to past tense. So past perfect tense it belongs to. How long had your brother stayed in the US when you went there for MS? And coming to the last sentence, Gandhi, in bracket, pass away in 1948. So when this sentence ends with a year, so we know pretty well that it belongs to past simple. Gandhi passed away. So we should be very careful even with this. This will also be covered mostly in correction of sentences. Like time passes, but time will never pass away. So we should not kill time. Time passes, but people pass away. So that also we have to remember. Mostly they give it in correction of sentences. Gandhi passed away. So PASSED, Gandhi passed away in 1948. So these are the answers, and the next ones you can do for homework.
Completed, madam?
Yeah, it's completed, sir.
Thank you.